Bring the lights down low. It's starting to snow. Lights, camera, you know what we mean. Behold the magic of the silver screen. Some movies rock, some movies shock. They're powerful or odd. We cover them all on your favorite pod. So many movies, let's have some fun. Ho, ho, ho. Now I have a machine gun. The years move pretty fast, so heed the ghost of movies past. Making memories that will always last. It's a 30-something movie podcast.
All right, it is the 30-something movie podcast. It is December. It's, I don't know, the Christmas music. It's pretty rocking. So I'm coming in kind of hot here. I'm sorry if I scared you, Jeff.
I was not expecting that.
No, okay.
Actually, that was kind of a recreation of what I felt like the 8th grade felt like this morning when I started rehearsal. Because I came in on 11.
Yeah.
To rehearsal this morning.
Mm-hmm.
John, you mentioned that you came in that way to your class this morning too. So
I did. I was like, welcome back. Sit down. We got stuff to do. Like, there's 3 things in the back of the room you guys got to pick up. Pick them up. Let's go over what the next 3 weeks looks like. Boom, boom, boom. Here. Then you're going to go off on winter break. Ready? Go. Today's number 1. Like, wait, what?
Did you do the Crimson Tide thing? The only thing I say to you is keep up with me.
Yes. Pretty
And
much.
if you feel
Yes.
that warming sensation, it's my foot in your butt.
Yes.
Crimson
Oh,
Tide,
man.
that was such a great movie about a boat.
Mm-hmm.
It was a boat, not a ship, for crying out loud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If only I had a kid that was named Weps, then I could have had one more line.
Weps.
To use it. We got to have Weps. Weps is the key.
Okay, Mr. History Teacher.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mr. Band Director.
Oh, man.
Mr. the Mazooka, how are you?
Mr. the Mazooka. You know what? I like that. From now on, when you see me at work, you will address me as Mr. the Mazooka.
Mr. the Mazooka. Okay. I feel like it's appropriate. You've earned it.
Thank you. Thank you.
All those years of medical school.
Well, it was a long battle of something. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore.
It doesn't really matter.
Has it ever really mattered?
No, there's like 3 people listening, so it doesn't really matter. It's okay. Remember, it's the 30-something movie podcast, The Lack of Happening.
The lack. Thank you to Nora for
I care.
podcast.
The official tagline now.
The lack of happening.
Speaking of the lack of happening, we're here to talk about Batman Forever. So it's really, really exciting. We have to do another Batman movie. So far, we did the one that Pat was excited for years, several years ago. Batman 89, he's still riding high off of that one. And then did Batman Returns just a few years ago. And now have we hit the hat trick? We'll talk about it.
We missed the hat trick.
We're not burying the lead at all. No, that one sailed wide right. Just a bit outside. So
wasn't even off the crossbar.
Not
even close.
Mm-hmm. It did hit a small child in the stands. So
are you trying to get under my cape, Doctor?
Oh God!
It's the car, right? Chicks dig the car.
Oh my God! It's so bad.
I think the low was "Step Inside My Love Machine." I think that was. I'm just like, ooh.
The low was not the goofy bat smile.
Oh,
that when he turns around and walks away.
Yes.
And just had that weird grin on his face.
Yes.
I didn't understand. Okay.
That weird grin that kind of like, what I heard in my head was the little kid from Animal House at the end of the movie. Thank you, God. That's what that smile said to me. I don't know why. But yes, I don't know if we want to have some, but yes, let's have some. So we are here to talk about what I think was a movie. And yes, this time around we are calling this one Batman
Forever. 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 Forever.
you know why? But that's absolutely the funniest thing I've heard all day.
That's the only way to make this movie better.
Oh.
is bringing the kids from the Sandlot. That's the only thing that can be done. We don't need a Chase Meridian. We need a Wendy Peppercorn.
Okay.
You got nothing else. All right. Since we have so many things we want to say about this one, or maybe we don't want to say them, but we're going to say them anyway because that's what we do here. Very, very quickly, we spoil freely, so this is your only warning. If you hear the name of a movie and you don't want to hear anything about it, just hit skip a couple times on your podcast app, and we should be done talking about that. Make sure you visit
The name of this movie is Batman Forever. If you don't want to hear about this movie, and I'm pretty sure you don't, skip the episode.
You can skip this episode, wait a few years, and we'll be talking about Batman Begins.
We highly advise you to listen to this. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
What would that be? Would that be our 20th anniversary year when we get to Batman Begins? I think so. I think it's like 10 more years. Was that 2005?
Yeah.
I think so.
There you go. That's the movie I'm looking forward to. Batman Begins. So for the next 10 years, I'm going to talk that one up.
Okay, just it's blowing my mind that this movie is closer than
Friends, closer than family?
To like the next round of comic book movies, like the X-Men series.
Yes.
Than we are right now.
Yes.
Does that make sense what I'm saying? I'm not sure.
We're 5 years away from a good comic book movie. Yeah.
I think this movie went on to, honestly, help the comic book movie industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's, like, X-Men was, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed the first X-Men movie. But I think I enjoyed it more because of how awful this movie and Batman and Robin were.
Agree.
It just landed so much better, I think, because these other two movies just left such a bad taste in the mouths of comic book fans.
Yeah. See, for me, you're right with X-Men, but then also seeing live action Wolverine for me is what really brought it home.
Yeah.
Because that was something I was, I remember talking to my buddy Kevin, who really introduced me to all things comic book and all that kind of stuff. And probably my favorite characters and all that kind of were stemmed from him because Epic Wolverine's his guy. And I remember when I saw it, it was like, oh my God, they're really doing it. That and then Jean-Luc Picard as Professor X.
Look at you, Marvel. You're doing it. You're playing with us, Marvel. You're doing it. Yeah. So yes, so let's dive right into this one because
Sure.
there's some stuff to talk about. And do I have my like censor beep ready for when I say the S word on here? Because I'm going to say it a few times. Okay, this is a family-friendly podcast, so I'm going to go ahead and immediately apologize for when I drop the S word here in just a minute. And for those of you, no, Schumacher. So I apologize. We try to keep it family-friendly around here, but it may happen. So, all right, this one came out June 16th, 1995, rated PG-13 with a runtime of 2 hours and 1 minute, of which we will not get back. Joel, who also did The Client and Falling Down, which just did a lot of falling down in this movie. Writers were Lee Batchelor, Janet Scott Batchelor, and Akiva Goldsmith. Producers were Tim Burton, Peter McGregor Scott, Benjamin Melniker, and Michael E. Uslin. And like Tim Burton did like Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Beetlejuice, all that other fun stuff. A composer was Elliot Goldenthal. Did Interview with the Vampire and Heat. Cinematographer Stephen Goldblatt, who did Forrest Gump and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Editor was Dennis Verkler, who did Face Off and Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation. Production company was Warner Brothers with Polygram Filmed Entertainment. Budget was about $100 million. Box office was $336.6 million. And Flickmetrics gives this one a 56%. Cinema Score gave it an A-. So people that left the theater, were like, I like this. This is good stuff. I don't know why, but that's what they said.
I don't know. If you're gonna go munch some popcorn and just love going to see the movies, like I think that's gonna be your initial reaction to it. I mean, kind of you guys summed it up, right? Like you remember liking it, and now we're rewatching it, and we're coming at it with, analyzing comic book movies and all that, and we're coming back and being like, ooh, but if you're just gonna go munch popcorn and I could see where this. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I could see where this movie really people had fun with it.
For the most part, 1995, John enjoyed this movie.
Mm-hmm.
1995, John also realizes that there were quite a few problems, but
Yes.
John, what date did you say this came out?
this was June 16th, 1995. So this is, and here's a little bit of my story behind seeing this one. We'll jump into the actors here in a second, but a little bit of my story behind seeing this one is this came out the summer that we were moving to Chicago. And so this was like, there was a lot of stuff going on that summer. I had tried, because I think all four of the major actors in this movie were going to be at a hotel somewhere signing autographs in downtown Chicago when we happened to be here. We were staying in the city. My dad had an apartment because he had been working in Chicago for a few months. We had come up there to kind of look for a house in the suburbs. And I remember being a 14-and-a-half-year-old, basically, because we had lived over in England and had gone to London several times. My dad basically looked at me and said, "Hey, just don't get lost, but yeah, go do whatever you want to do. Like, there's a huge bookstore on Michigan Avenue. You might enjoy that. Like, go have fun." So I had, unlike my siblings, I kind of had free reign to just roam around the city of Chicago if I wanted to. And so I remember trying to get to this event at this hotel where they were going to be doing autographs with Val Kilmer, Chris O'Donnell, Tommy Lee Jones, and Jim Carrey. And the line was just so long that they basically said, "Yeah, it doesn't do any good to stand in line here because you're not going to be able to get in. You're not getting an autograph." But I mean, this was big that summer. Like, we didn't have too many other things to do because we didn't have a home. We were trying to figure out where we were going to be living. And so I think my siblings and I probably went to go see this in the theater maybe 2 or 3 times that summer.
Mm-hmm.
We were just young enough and just nerdy enough to have all bought the officially licensed T-shirts. And so I think I had the Batman shirt. I want to say one of my siblings had the Riddler shirt and somebody else had the Robin shirt. So we all had like matching T-shirts. We were like super, super nerdy kids walking around the streets of Chicago in our Batman shirts. And then eventually, when we came up to Libertyville, was actually where we ended up living when we first moved up here. And we came up here, and the weekend that we came to Libertyville to kind of check out the town and look at some houses in the area, there was one of the local radio stations there was some kind of like, Summerfest type thing going on in downtown Libertyville, and there's a radio station there, and they stopped us because all 3 of us were wearing our matching Batman T-shirts, and they were like, "Hey, did you go see the Batman movie in theaters?" And I remember, like, somehow I ended up getting on the radio talking about how cool Batman Forever was, and so
Nice.
that's kind of my story of how I got introduced to Batman Forever. And like I said, 14-and-a-half-year-old John at the time, combination of Jim Carrey, who I loved in The Mask.
Yeah.
I thought this was great. I was like, this is awesome. This is like, it's hilarious. It's kind of goofy. There's a lot of action in it. Like, this is amazing. He's got a new bat suit by the end of the movie. And so 14-year-old John was on board with this one.
Yeah.
Here in a few minutes, we'll get to what, 45-year-old John thought of it. But, 30 years ago, I was on board. So
Batman Forever did not have a lot of box office competition.
No, I don't remember there being much. Was Congo out at the time?
Congo came out the week prior.
Okay.
The week before that was a movie called Theodore Rex.
Yes. Okay.
And that's it for June. The week after this came out, the week after Batman Forever came out, we get Pocahontas. And then the week after that,
Right.
we get Apollo 13, Judge Dredd, and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Okay.
So at the time, wasn't a lot of competition.
Yeah.
If you go back to May 24th, you get Braveheart, but I'm not sure
Okay.
how long that may have dominated at the box office. By the
Right.
time-
And rated R, so you're always going to get a little bit more limited box office from an R-rated movie than you will a PG-13.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I would suspect that has something to do with why it did as well as it did, was because there just wasn't much else
right.
to go check out.
Yeah. All right, let's do a quick rundown of the actors in this one. So Val Kilmer, who passed just this year, 2025, played Bruce Wayne Batman. He was in Heat, The Saint, and Tombstone. Tommy Lee Jones was Harvey Dent, Two-Face. He was in Men in Black, No Country for Old Men. Jim Carrey was Edward Nygma, or the Riddler. He was in Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, and The Cable Guy. Nicole Kidman was Dr. Chase Meridian, and what a grand pursuit she must be. She was in Moulin Rouge and The Others. Chris O'Donnell was Dick Grayson. Robin was in Scent of a Woman and The Three Musketeers. Michael Goff, who passed in 2011, played Alfred Pennyworth. He was in Out of Africa, Top Secret, and a few episodes of Doctor Who. Pat Hingle, who passed in 2009, was Commissioner Gordon. He was in The Quick and the Dead, Muppets from Space, and Brewster's Millions. Drew Barrymore was Sugar. She was in E.T. the Extraterrestrial, Never Been Kissed. And Debbie Mazar was Spice. She was in Goodfellas, Empire Records, and this year's The Running Man in 2025. So a couple things on this one. There was a lot of back and forth stuff. Originally, Michael Keaton was supposed to be in this movie. And when Tim Burton kind of dropped out to do Ed Wood, they kind of went back and forth a little bit with Joel Schumacher when he came on. And Michael Keaton was kind of excited because one of the original ideas was to kind of go back and do a prequel and do a Batman Year One type story. And so he was ready to go. He was on board with it. I believe Rene Russo, if I remember that right, was going to be the love interest for Batman. It was still going to be Michael Keaton. And then as Joel Schumacher took over, he had been getting notes from Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers basically said, look, we had a huge problem when Batman Returns came out, and that was so dark. McDonald's actually pulled their promotional Happy Meal because it was too dark for kids. And McDonald's was really upset. So you don't, unlike you might in an actual Batman movie, you don't upset the clown. And so they upset the clown. And the clown took back the clown's money and the clown's Happy Meal and all that other stuff. And so for this one, they're like, look, we got to make this family friendly. We got to open this up for the merchandising. And so that is why at the time, that was the only thing I remember about this movie, looking at it and going, the heck are they doing with like giant neon statues in the middle of Gotham City? Like, what is this like bright neon junk? And why is this starting to feel more like the campy 60s show? So even as like 14-year-old John, that was the part of this movie that was like, something doesn't feel right here. And so that was the part where I could kind of tell. I was like, this is not the Gotham City that we had in Batman and Batman Returns. It feels strange. This is kind of weird. But so, because of all that, Michael Keaton did not like the direction things were going, so he dropped out. He's like, nope, I'm done. I don't want to do Batman if this is what we're doing. If we're turning it into a kid's thing, if we're not taking it into a serious direction, I don't want to have any part of it. Then eventually, when they brought in Val Kilmer, they decided that Rene Russo was too old to be Val Kilmer's love interest, so they dropped her from the movie. Originally, they had a couple of different ideas for Edward Nygma, for the Riddler. One of the originals was Robin Williams, and he was really interested in playing this part. I think that could have been an interesting part, especially if they hadn't decided to go with the, kind of family-friendly version of this. Because having seen him a few years from now in some of his more serious roles where he actually plays almost kind of like a serial killer or a stalker in a couple of different movies, I'm like, okay, well, if you wanted to take like a little crazy, but also a little dangerous, kind of creepy, if you want to do that, I can definitely see Robin Williams pulling that off, knowing what he was going to be doing just a few years from now with a couple of those movies, like 1 Hour Photo and Insomnia, some of those. So that I think could have been really interesting to see, but he ended up backing out because he didn't like the direction the movie was going, had some creative stuff with Joel Schumacher. Marlon Wayans he was already going to possibly be in Batman Returns, but I believe all of his stuff got dropped. He was still, I believe, contracted to appear in other sequels. And eventually they dropped him. They're like, no, Joel Schumacher was like, no, that was a Tim Burton thing. I'm not doing Marlon Wayans. We're dropping him and we're going to pick up somebody different. And I said Marlon Wayans. It might have been Damon Wayans. It's one of the Wayans. I know that much. I think it might have been Marlon though. And so they dropped him, and that's when they ended up going to look out for like newer, younger people. Leo DiCaprio at one point was considered for it. They had a bunch of other names that they were looking at for it, and then eventually they ended up going with Chris O'Donnell for that. So there's just a lot of stuff going on in the background of all this, but I think that kind of lays the groundwork to help us understand, like, why did they go the direction they went? Like this movie, and we'll get into that when we get into our deeper thoughts part of it too, is this movie is very much about what can we sell to go along with this movie kind of a deal. So I think that's why you see the soundtrack go in a slightly non-Batman-y direction. And that's why you've got the change in costume, the change in other stuff. Like, so you can sell more toys. You can have the Gotham City playset that has weird statues and neon lights and all that fun stuff. All right. We're going to I'm going to give a quick synopsis voiceover for this one. Then I'm going to play the trailer audio, which actually the trailer audio, I watched this trailer a couple times. And as I'm watching this trailer, I'm like, that trailer feels like a very different movie than the movie we got. So it'll be interesting to play that trailer. If you get a chance, go take a look at it on YouTube. And then we'll break this down into 10 major moments so that we can do a quick fly through of the plot. But before we do that,
riddle me this, riddle me that. Who's afraid of the big black bat?
In an uncertain world, in a chaotic time, justice wears a mask.
Your entrance was good. His was better.
Love is a game.
What is it about the wrong kind of man?
It's the car, right? Chicks love the car.
Power is a machine.
Now you've devised a way to read men's minds.
By the way, I've seen your mind, freak.
And revenge is a trap.
You're a genius.
Riddler and Two-Face can make a pretty lethal combination. Train me, let me be your partner.
Who's your tailor?
But first,
Let's meet our contestants.
Going down.
If the bat wants to play, we'll play.
Was that over the top?
Don't work too late.
You forgot the part where you kissed the girl.
The real game begins.
Courage now. Truth always. Batman forever.
Well, hearing Jeff back me up on this. Well, disagree with you. Me too, but I'm just saying, hearing that Danny Elfman score with that final theme where it builds up, John. Yes, you not. I mean, that just sure, right? Da 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 dum bum but up like.
It's very misleading because this film ended up being a stinking pile of dog crap. But right spot.
That's with that music playing. That's the movie I wanted to watch.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Let me zip through 10 major moments real quick, and I'll try to keep my commentary to a minimum on these because I definitely know we'll get to that when we get to our deeper thoughts here. We start off in the heart of Gotham City, or I'm going to say, you know what, this is a different Earth. I'm not even going to say this is the same universe as the Tim Burton Batman stuff. So this is, what would be a good number? Steaming pile of dog crap. This is Earth number 2. So in the multiverse, this is Earth number 2. And so on Earth number 2, in the heart of Gotham City, or something that resembles a weird circus Gotham City, a hostage situation blows up, and it's up to Batman to stop it. The villain pulling the strings, none other than former DA turned monster Two-Face. He storms out, but not before we get a glimpse at how far he's fallen. Through some flashbacks, we see Harvey Dent, once a beacon of justice and a staunch ally of Batman, get horribly disfigured by mobster acid, courtesy of Sal Maroni. The trauma fractures his psyche, creating Two-Face, a man who makes life or death decisions by flipping a coin. Batman's failure to prevent the attack haunts Dent all the way to vengeance. Meanwhile, Edward Nygma, a genius researcher at Wayne Enterprises, pitches a device that beams television signals directly into people's minds. Bruce Wayne shuts it down, wary of its potential for mental manipulation. Enraged, Nigma murders his abusive supervisor, stages it as a suicide, quits, and vows revenge on both Wayne and Batman. He adopts the mantle of the Riddler and begins sending cryptic riddles hinting at what's next. Bruce Wayne and psychologist Chase Meridian go to a circus. There, Two-Face hijacks the event, threatens to blow it up unless Batman reveals his identity. A bold gambit that sends shockwaves through the crowd. Young acrobat Dick Grayson and his family try to save the day by tossing the bomb into a river, but some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. And Two-Face mercilessly kills everyone except Dick. The orphan teen emerges bloody and broken. Haunted by guilt and empathy, Bruce invites the surviving Dick Grayson to Wayne Manor and offers him a place to stay, becoming his guardian. In time, Dick learns Bruce's secret. He is Batman. Dick, fueled by grief and a thirst for vengeance, begs to join Batman in his crusade, but Bruce declines. He wants Dick to heal, not spiral after the murders. As Riddler and Two-Face begin collaborating, the crimes escalate. Robberies fund Riddler's brainwave device, the Box, which sucks information from every mind in Gotham and transfers it to the Riddler, making him hyper-intelligent, but slowly unraveling his sanity. Their ultimate goal is mass control and revealing Batman's identity. At one of Riddler's arrogant high society parties, Batman pursues Two-Face but finds himself outnumbered and outgunned, just like Alexander Hamilton. Just when things look darkest, Dick leaps in to save him, and the Fragile team cracks but survives. Meanwhile, psychologist Chase Meridian reveals that she has fallen for Bruce Wayne, and Bruce finally confesses he is the Batman. Their intimacy, however, is shattered when Riddler uses his box to discover Bruce's identity, and on Halloween night, Riddler and Two-Face destroy the Batcave, shoot Bruce, and kidnap Chase. Gotham is thrown into chaos. We have the final showdown. Batman and Dick, now Robin, storm the Riddler's lair. In the chaos, Robin defeats Two-Face, but spares him, hoping mercy might save something human inside of him. And as Eddie Murphy said several movies ago, Dick is good in this moment. So we have made sure that he does not kill Two-Face. Dick is good. That decision almost cost them everything, though, because Two-Face captures Robin at gunpoint. Riddler traps Chase and Robin above a deadly drop in mind control tubes, forcing Batman to choose one to save, like in the old 60s TV show. Instead, Batman distracts Riddler with a riddle, destroys the brainwave device with a batarang, shatters Riddler's grip on reality, and rescues both of them. In a final desperate bid for fate, Two-Face flips his coin, but Batman, clever as ever, reaches into his bat coin dispenser in his belt, which I think is right next to the bat shark repellent, and tosses dozens of identical coins into the air, throwing off the odds. Two-Face loses his balance, falls to his death. Gotham is safe. Riddler is committed to Arkham Asylum, delusional, proclaiming he is the Batman. Meanwhile, Bruce fully accepts Dick as his partner and friend. Robin is born, and the Dark Knight rides on. That is the movie. And now, if we have deeper thoughts, I think it's time to go into our deep thoughts.
Something's deep.
And now, deep thoughts.
I have an opinion on this matter.
Don't mince words, Bones. What do you really think?
I like it a lot.
Wow. It's very deep. Thank you.
All right. So I've already kind of given my story of how I got introduced to this. How did you gentlemen get introduced to Batman Forever?
First of all, I'm just kind of going through a little mind bender here.
Oh, go for
it. They said Rene Russo was too old to pair with Val Kilmer.
That, I believe, was the word, yes.
Okay, so I just looked at the ages. She would have been 41, and he would have been 35.
Correct.
So I guess that would maybe be a little mismatched. Maybe, but I don't know. I don't know. That gets into the whole Hollywood where like every actress has to be like 22 or something. But then when I was looking up ages, it popped up that Rene Russo is currently 71. And I'm trying to like wrap my head around that whole deal. So that's just my first deep thought. And I just saw a recent picture and she still looks pretty amazing. So those are my deep thoughts right there.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Pat.
You're welcome. But now, Jeff, you go ahead and regale me with your deeper thoughts of Batman Forever and ever and ever.
I don't think my thoughts are all that deep.
Okay.
I think they're pretty surface level.
When was the first time you saw this? How did you get started with Batman Forever?
I probably caught it on either cable or rental because I thoroughly enjoyed Batman 89, somewhat enjoyed Batman Returns. So I was like, okay, I'll see what this next one is. And within the first couple of minutes, you recognize that this is an entirely different tone, an entirely interpretation of the material, and it's not what I wanted. I thought that Batman 89 did a great job of presenting a plausibility effect to the story, basing it a little bit more in realistic terms. And all the neon in this one, I was just like, what the hell is all this? It became very distracting because it's not what I wanted out of another Batman movie. Yeah, so I know that I've watched it multiple times, and then upon watching it for the pod, I started questioning, why exactly did I watch this multiple times prior to this time? Because it wasn't entertaining.
Yeah.
I think the strongest elements that came out of it, I was saying to you guys earlier, were the performances of Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones. I think the two of them figured out how to be cartoons in a live-action cartoonish take on Batman. And I don't think anyone else in the movie lived up to that need of that type of character. And it just felt really unbalanced. But when you look at the performances individually, Jim Carrey does a great job as the Riddler. Tommy Lee Jones does a great job as Two-Face. But again, you pair them with the rest of the cast, and it's just a whole lot of what is anybody even trying, or are we all just earning a paycheck here?
Right.
But it also begs the question of what material are they working off of? Like, how much really did they have to use to develop their characters? The story is shoddy. It has awkward jumps in the story. It just all of a sudden a scene ends and something completely different out of left field starts the next scene. Like, oh, how did we all of a sudden get here? I want to mention that the guys over at the Shirley podcast used a term for this type of movie, and I texted them earlier because I couldn't remember what it was, but the term that I was looking for is toyetic. The idea being that the media, whatever the media is, was created simply for the idea to sell toys.
Yeah.
And I think this movie is very toyetic. That they were clearly just trying to figure out how many different ways can we market toys based on this movie. I mean, there's how many different Bat vehicles, there's different Bat suits, there's different Robin suits. Jim Carrey, the Riddler has like 3 or 4 costume changes he goes through just at the very end. So a lot of it you can tell is just is put together because you're looking at going, that's a toy, and that's a toy, and that's a toy, and that's a toy. And sadly, the movie was sacrificed because of it.
Yeah, I remember being young enough that I ended up owning some of these toys. I remember buying at least the Batman and the Robin figures. And that was like the toy part was kind of fun because I was still at an age where I was like, yeah, that's fine. I'll buy some of these. But yes, this is where things start to get, things were getting crazy with some of the earlier Batman stuff too. Cause I want to say was it for Batman Returns? Like they started doing like Arctic Batman and they started underwater Batman, and it was just different color schemes for the original Batman figure. And it was starting to get a little crazy with some of that. But yes, then you take, and I know everybody wants to kind of put their own thing, their own spin on it, but I'm like, why why mess with the Batmobile? Like the 89 Batman Batmobile, totally fine. Don't mess with it.
Well, and there are scenes in this movie of the Batmobile driving around, and the fins on it are clearly made of rubber.
Right.
You can see them flopping around. Like they're bouncing, they're literally bouncing around as this Batmobile is driving down the street.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't even try to make it seem like it's part of the car.
Right.
These are rubber fins that someone threw on there.
Right.
But yeah, just a lot of problems.
Yeah.
You know, Robin's first foray as Batman's sidekick is he's wearing his Flying Grayson's suit with the mask. Like, you don't think people are going to recognize you as one of the Flying Graysons? You're wearing your, bright green, red, and yellow suit that you wore the night your parents were killed.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? That suit has been all over the Gotham news. But you put a mask on and you think no one's going to know who you are?
We're not the greatest at hiding secret identities here.
But then, then you realize that wasn't the point of this movie.
No. So, Patrick, how did you first come to Batman Forever?
We all went and saw it in the theater.
Okay.
School's out for the summer. Let's go see a movie, like that kind of thing. And I think this movie checked the boxes for it. Like you guys said, I'm coming at it. You guys know my opinion of the '89 Batman and Batman Returns and all of that. And this was suddenly like, oh, this is going a different direction. And then each time I saw it, each subsequent viewing, it occurred to me more and more that this was almost more, kind of what I remember from the 1960s Batman kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That just seemed to be what it was closer to. I thought, Nicole Kidman and Val Kilmer, amazing actors. And I thought, like you said, brought those roles to life, but what were they working with? And I feel like they didn't get the chance to really explore their characters very much. You know what I'm saying? They kind of, there was very little development or growth in their characters. I mean, there was the whole thing about the dream sequence and how Batman was affected by that. But I mean, they only really kind of paid in the movie, not those two actors, but the movie really only paid kind of lip service to that. Okay, is he Batman or is he Bruce Wayne? And even the Chase Meridian, her whole story arc was, I've always been attracted to the bad boy, and now I want to go after the good guy, which now that I say that out loud is problematic on so many different levels. That how Hollywood, like in society, viewed females back 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I verbalize that, I've realized the problem, how problematic that is, and unfortunate. So I felt like the two, at least the main character of Batman, and then his love interest, like there really was little growth in those characters. As you mentioned before, I think Tommy Lee Jones and Ace Ventura brought a whole lot to their characters. I mean, those guys were fantastic there. And Tommy Lee Jones, part of me would love to see a little bit more of the guy from The Fugitive in there, right? Just to see a little bit of that side with him, because he kind of all the time he seemed like, what was the movie where he was the bomb maker? And he had the Irish accent that sounded like it was right from the Lucky Charms commercial. Blown
was
Away.
That Blown
Wasn't
Away?
That Blown Away?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, you kind of got him unhinged. And so that was pretty good. I heard somewhere that he did this movie, like he wasn't into comic books, but he did this movie because like his kid said, Dad, you could be in a Batman movie. Like, I don't know if I've got that story right, but somehow he got into this thing. And then, I guess he wasn't a big Batman fan and all that. So, good on him for jumping into the whole, and bringing his A game to that. And again, I think Val Kilmer and Nicole Kidman, like nothing against them. Like, I mean, they're anybody that's seen my foray into acting knows that I'm not the position to judge. But I mean, I just don't know that they were given room to really develop those characters or really let them shine. And I think Tommy Lee Jones and Ace Ventura stole every scene that they were in, right? Jim Carrey was great. And I think we're kind of in that Jim Carrey time where he hasn't done like Truman Show yet, right? And he hasn't done the movies where they ask him, where he goes a little bit more acting and serious roles and all that kind of stuff. So we're still kind of in the phase where, well, you guys know this stuff better than me, but it's sort of like when you get a player in the NFL and the team drafts him and it's just like, this guy will make stuff happen. So we're just going to get him the ball and let him go, right? Like, when the Bears had Devin Hester, and it was like, he's an incredible return man. So we're going to put him in the wide receiver role or in the backfield and just get him the ball and wait for the magic to happen. It's like that with Jim Carrey. It's like, we're just going to put him in the movie and unleash him. And he really delivers in this. I think, he is entertaining, and they were able to work in all the Jim Carrey isms into it. And I really think he brought a lot to the role. Like, I still laugh hearing him deliver the lines, right? B12, you sunk my battleship and my favorite vitamin, I might add. Just the way he delivers those lines is just, it's on point. It's on point. And I think that really adds a whole lot to it. Alfred, the guy playing Alfred, is just solid. Whether it's a big role or a small role, he just brings a gravitas to this. Like, he really is great in that role. The last piece that I'm going to say, and I might draw the ire of the pod here, I think Chris O'Donnell is great as Robin. I think he really strikes a nice balance between,
Pat, Pat.
Oh, really?
Oh.
You didn't like Chris O'Donnell in there?
He was as flat could be.
Oh, see, I watched him this time, and I liked the balance between, pushing the limits and, being a thorn in Bruce's side. And I enjoyed watching him. Maybe it was just because he rode motorcycles. I'm not sure. But I thought that was good. The Holy Rusted Metal gag made me laugh. Like, if that had not been surrounded by a movie of silliness, like, I probably would have liked it more. But Holy Rusted Metal Batman, huh? Well, I mean, I think they gave enough nods. I guess I just didn't mind it as much, because once I realized what they were going for, it was like, okay, like, I'm not expecting the third movie in the Tim Burton trilogy, right? They're going a different direction. So yeah, I kind of liked all those things. The big letdown for me was, I wish the vehicles did more than just get shot out of the sky or blown up out of the water. Like, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more from them.
Yeah, that Batwing that could go underwater and detach its wings and become a bat submarine.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, and then he shoots himself out of it underwater, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I was really, the Batwing will still be one of my favorite movie vehicles. What were you going to say?
Well, he didn't even really do anything with the Batwing.
Yeah.
Other than, right? He didn't didn't attack with it. Same thing with, Robin in the Bat boat.
Yeah.
Like, they just got shot at in all these vehicles.
Yeah, I really, and that's where the 89 Batman, I mean, the charge of the Batmobile, and when he comes in with the Batwing, that is still going to be, the Batwing is still one of my favorite vehicles in movies, and there's switches, analog switches that make cool sounds when you throw the switch, boop, boop, beep. It's got all these rockets and the Gatling guns and the whole thing. I know Batman doesn't use guns.
When you said when he comes in with the Batwing, are you referring to the 89 Batman?
89 Batman. I loved that. And in this, I thought I was going to get... Oh, say it again?
That was a great reveal.
Yeah, just fantastic. Yeah. And I thought I was going to get more of that in this one.
They show it, like, do we go by sea or by air? Like, okay. And then just to do nothing with all these vehicles is just really sad. It was such a waste of opportunity. Yeah, I really, as a kid, I would sit there and just kind of headcanon in what would that scene look like? Wasn't the original, the 60s Batman, didn't they have a whole scene with the boat where, he was dodging mine? There was a whole scene with it, right?
Yeah, I think so. Was that in the 66 movie?
Was that the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. anyways, I just, that was the one kind of letdown I had with this. Like, I realized which direction they were going, and that was fine. But I really, I wish, like, that was something I really wish there was more of, is using, those incredible toys. And again, I'm going to find myself just, the last thought I'd have on it was just complimenting when, Nicole Kidman came in wearing the red top and her lipstick matched it perfectly. My first reaction was, dang, they got that coordinated. That's pretty awesome. But then as I say it, I cringe at what I'm saying, because it's like, okay, here's the female lead, this great actress, and I'm reduced to just talking about like her attire. And it's like, yeah, that's a problematic statement. And so again, I just kind of like, I wish we could have had a little bit more development, and I wish the female characters were more than just there to just be looked at. And
well, the script just didn't allow for it, unfortunately.
Right, exactly.
Right? Would have been nice to really see what Val Kilmer could have done with Bruce Wayne, or what Kidman could have done with Chase Meridian. The script just didn't give them room to do that, and what the script had them do was ridiculous. Val Kilmer as Bruce Wayne stands up in the middle of the circus and shouts out, "I'm Batman." Like, Bruce Wayne wouldn't do that. He would find, in my understanding of the character, in all the comics that I've read and movies and TV shows that I've seen, that's outside his character to stand up and just publicly acknowledge himself as Batman.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we see it played out in the Chris Nolan the Chris Nolan movie. So spoilers if no one's seen that, but look at Dark Knight, right? That whole opportunity he has to reveal himself, and should he, and maybe he shouldn't, and why was the Batman created? And like, they really explore the why in all of this on a very deep level, and they don't in this movie, which is okay, because that's not the point of this movie. The point of this movie is just to have kind of a surface level fun action adventure and all this kind of thing. But it's just unfortunate, because we've seen the other side, we've seen them go deeper, and you see that potential here with some great actors, but they just don't, right?
And I think that's, watching it this time around for me, and watching it more critically than I have before, I think that's the piece where it really, really falls apart, is reading up on it and hearing that, well, because of the issue with McDonald's pulling their sponsorship after Batman Returns, we wanted something more family friendly. We want it more accessible to kids. We wanted this. We wanted this. We want it bright. We wanted a little campy, like the 60s show. Okay, that's fine. If you're going to go that direction, that's fine. But then you end up with a completely, and this might go a little bit to what you were saying, Jeff, about the story, a completely mismatched tone for this whole movie. Is we want camp. We want kind of funny. We want it to be accessible to kids. But one of the big parts of the story is dealing with serious psychological drama and trauma, like dealing with Bruce Wayne's trauma and repressed memories, and Dick Grayson's trauma of having his family murdered in front of him. Like, wait, are we going for family friendly and more of a kids movie, or are we going for, let's explore the trauma that these characters are going through, and how that creates these dual identities that they decide to take on? Like, that's where that part, story-wise, that's where that whole thing kind of falls apart, because I'm like, you're not even staying true to what you said you wanted to do to this movie. Like, you wanted to get rid of some of the dark stuff, but you left some pretty dark stuff in there, but you gave me...
didn't comment on it at all.
No, not at all. You kind of gave your viewers, like, emotional whiplash. Like, are we supposed to laugh and giggle at this thing, or are we supposed to be like, ooh, we need to think about this. What does trauma do to a person?
Well, you get that flashback of Bruce Wayne, the roses fall on the floor at Wayne Manor, and then you get the flashback to the roses at his parents' funeral.
Right.
Or the funeral where they dropped when his parents were shot. I don't know. You get the flashback.
That's why this is also an alternate Earth, because they should have been pearls, and that's why this is a different multiverse Earth.
Yes. But again, then they don't do anything. They introduce it, and then they don't comment on it at all throughout the film. There's no connection to it whatsoever, other than you get the story of a bat flew towards this kid when he was in a vulnerable state, and then you have zero unpacking of the trauma of Dick Grayson.
Right.
You have you end up having this kid, this what's supposed to be a younger kid, talking about how he wants to go out and kill Harvey Dent.
Mm-hmm.
Very little is done to talk him off the ledge. Very little. So, if, like you were saying, John, if they want family friendly, that was not it.
Right. And then if you're not going to address any of that, then what is the point of having Chase Meridian be a psychologist? Like, she can be anybody. It doesn't really. So she has this thing for bats, or she has this thing for like dual identities or stuff like that. I mean, she could have been a museum curator, and she's got these masks, or she's got these, objects that, ancient civilizations talk about dual identities and what that does to a person, and when does that develop. And there was no, if you're not going to address the psychological aspect of this, which is a huge part of the story, if you're following any kind of Batman story, there's a lot of psychology, which is why his villains are always very psychological villains. If you're not even going to touch that at all, there's no point in her being who she is. She could just be like like random blonde love interest from Batman and Robin.
Well, and I mean, yeah, you could have brought her in to consult.
Mm-hmm.
What do you make of all these riddles that I keep getting? What do these riddles tell you, the preeminent psychologist?
Yeah.
But instead, you really get the idea that this is very much, as Pat was saying earlier, like this very much, she's there to be looked at.
Right. Right.
That's the role that she's filling in this movie. And while being a very beautiful woman, we also know that she's a very talented actress that just did not get the opportunity to showcase what she's capable of.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not any fault of hers. Just like, Val Kilmer not getting truly to be Bruce Wayne Batman isn't a fault of his. Even, I said that Chris O'Donnell I didn't think was all that great. But again, he didn't have much to work with.
Right.
They had very specific moments and beats that they wanted to get to in this story. And they just jumped from one to the next, not allowing a lot of it to unfold a little bit more naturally, or given the option to explore some of these other elements.
And missed opportunity for Pat as well, because I feel like by the end of this movie, instead of having a bat boat, because I think it was Robin that was in the bat boat.
Mm-hmm.
I think instead of having a bat boat, if you really want to follow the trend that this movie is taking us through, is by the end of the movie, he's got his Robin armor, and he has fixed up one of Bruce's motorcycles. He's fixed it up into like a Robin cycle or something like that. Like, you want to sell some toys, let's make a Robin or a bat motorcycle and do it that way. I feel like that's a more appropriate vehicle for Dick Grayson. Like, there's nothing about Dick Grayson that says, yeah, he should drive a boat. That's cool. That fits with Robin. The one other thing I wanted to, and maybe this is an homage to the 60s Batman. I don't know. I don't know if I want to say that the writers were thinking that deeply about it. But the moment where they get the riddles and they're tying all the riddles together, and that's when they figure out that it's Edward Nygma, and you got M-R-E, Mr. E, mystery. And I was like, okay, yes, it's a riddle. It's a mystery. Good job, guys. You figured it out. But then we jump from that to Mr. E, Mr. Edward Nygma. As I'm watching that scene, and I'm immediately thinking of, and a shark was pulling my leg. The Joker. And it all happened at C. C for Catwoman. Like, I'm picturing that part. I'm like, oh, dear Lord, come on.
Well, and again, instead of using Chase Meridian,
mm-hmm.
Dr. Chase Meridian, using Alfred on the other half of that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's another word for mystery. Enigma. Enigma. Edward Nygma. Mm-hmm. And then you get the stupidest line from Alfred. Something along the lines of, "You really are bright despite what everyone says about you."
Yeah.
Like, where the hell did that come from?
It's like, aren't you supposed to be like the Dark Knight detective, like greatest detective in the world kind of a deal?
The world's greatest detective. Everybody knows that, the fandom knows that Batman is the world's greatest detective. Where does this line about being surprised that he's so bright come from?
Master Bruce, I have prepared you some tea. Tea for Two-Face. Yes.
And also for tea, because I'm your butler and I brought you tea.
Right.
Not everything is a thing, sir.
But somehow, who is the actor that plays Alfred? Because somehow, and maybe it's British accent, and maybe it's just that he's older. I'm not sure. But somehow, every line he says in this movie lands as authentic. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's
like, I hear you.
It's probably the British thing. Michael Gough is his name.
Michael Gough. Okay. Everything just seems like warm and genuine. Even
were all the bat suits destroyed? All of them, except for the one with the new sonar that you invented. But you haven't had time to test it.
I know. Perfect time. No time like the present.
No time like the Christmas present that you kids are going to enjoy getting when this new Batman figure comes out.
No time like the present?
Yes.
Christmas present.
Christmas present.
Christmas present.
Wait, Alfred, you brought me tea? Tea for toyetic?
Yeah, there you go. Well, and Jason told me in the text that it was Schumacher that came up with that term. The term toyetic.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. There's a difference between, and there's a difference between George Lucas, like selling the merchandising rights for Star Wars and selling the figures for Star Wars and that kind of stuff, versus I feel like what they're doing here. It's like nobody had done that kind of stuff when Star Wars had come out. And so that was at least something new and different. But he made the movie first. And then he's like, all right, well, we're going to make some toys here. And we're going to put the toys out. And, people are going to buy a box. And then eventually we'll deliver the toys to them. But this thing was like, it felt like the toys came first. And what kind of stuff are we going to sell at Toys R Us first? And then let's make a movie around that.
It's very much like the He-Man story.
Yeah.
Here are your He-Man characters. Now let's find a way to market them. I know. We'll make a TV show.
Right.
How are we going to do this? Now we'll just keep creating characters and different versions of the same characters as toys. Keep getting people's money that way.
Right.
Yeah. I heard a thing. I don't know the veracity of it, but I saw this little thing on YouTube about G.I. Joe. And they talked about that, how they, that was created to try and how they structured the stories to kind of sell toys. And again, I'm not sure who put this out. And so I don't know how accurate or whatever, but it was an interesting history of G.I. Joe and an interesting take on all of that. But again, it answered or not answered. It analyzed that same question that you asked. Is this here to sell toys, or are the toys being sold to help advance the show?
Well, and we didn't know that as kids, but now you know, Pat.
Knowing is half the battle.
Thank you.
Did I tell you guys that I introduced my oldest to the old 1984-85 G.I. Joe?
On one of the chat streams, you had a picture of him sitting there checking it out, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
He loves it.
Yeah.
He'll walk around the house singing the theme song. I was like, this is fantastic.
I still do that from time to time.
I think we should bring that into work to start singing the G.I. Joe theme song while we're at work.
I got to work on my Destro impersonation.
Pat, can we get the band to play the G.I. Joe theme song?
Oh,
I'm sure.
Is there a 1980s cartoon medley for the band to play?
There has to be.
Oh, I'm sure there's got to be something.
Can we get on that, please?
I tell you what, you play the music, and I'll stand up to the microphone and start singing "Brave Star."
Oh yeah, if we get Brave Star in there.
Yeah, I'm all on board.
Although John, I want to say the last time we stepped up to the mic to sing in the gym, we actually blew out the sound system.
We did.
I'm not sure, but
we broke the speakers. I'm not sure we're allowed to do that.
I think they're fixed now, but for the last 17 years, it's been like Yeah, the sound system in the gym and I'm just like,
No
I
comment.
don't think it was the same ever since
No.
we did the karaoke at the pep rally.
It's I'm gonna blame
years ago.
I'm not blaming us. I'm blaming Uptown Girl. It's like those notes were just too high for us to have to hit. All right. Well, do we have anything else we want to say before we go to 3 questions?
I feel like I came across as very angry about this movie.
I mean, maybe a little. Were you an angry elf?
I don't know why it bothered me as much as it did. I should just be able to be like, wow, that sucked, and move on. But
yeah,
I almost like not personally attacked, but like, how could you do this to the fans?
Yeah.
And then do it again later.
Yeah, I worry a little bit. Like 2 years from now, if we cover, I'm sure we will. When we cover Batman and Robin, I'm not going to have anything nice to say during that one. I'll just say it now. Like, I don't know that I have anything nice to say about that movie, other than I want a Batman credit card. But
is there a Batman credit card?
I mean, I have a sticker on my current debit card that makes it look like a Blockbuster card. So I guess I could find a sticker that makes credit card look like a Bat card.
You don't remember the Bat card, Pat?
I don't.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's a scene when they're at There's a scene where they're at it's the dating auction, isn't it? And Batman whips out the Bat credit card, and he's like, "Never leave home without it," or something stupid like that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because he and Robin are trying to outbid each other for is it Poison Ivy? And
you know what? Dee sent me a picture of it.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh.
Yeah, that was the thing. Yeah, that was for the next 2 Batman movies. That's going to be like. There's a lot of times where you can just go, "Yeah, that was a thing."
How far we've fallen.
That's okay. That's okay. In 10 years, we get the Nolan Batman movies.
Mm-hmm.
So we just have to wait a decade.
Mm-hmm.
And
we get X-Men and X2.
We get X-Men, so we do get some good comic book movies coming up.
Oh yeah.
So, all right.
Yep.
Well, I think it's time for 3 questions. I think we've exhausted everything we could ever want to possibly say about Batman. Yeah, this movie, Batman
Forever. 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 Forever.
And now it's time for 3 questions.
He asks each traveler 5 questions. 3 questions. 3 questions.
It's impossible to answer.
Impossible because you don't know the answer.
Nobody could answer that question.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
All right, for the first question, riddle me this. What is your favorite Batman movie villain?
I'm going to go with Joker.
Which one?
See, I knew you were going to do that.
Oh.
I mean, I know you're a huge Jared Leto fan, but from the Oscar-winning Suicide Squad?
Oh, I hate you so much. God bless.
John is the favorite Batman villain.
John Reed. Like reading a book.
John Reed
used to teach language arts with books. Anyway,
mm-hmm.
The Jack Nicholson Joker is, for the foray of comic book movies to become a real thing, he nailed that part. He was great as the Joker in Batman '89. But I also enjoyed the Joker in the movie version of The Killing Joke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Mark Hamill doing the voice in the animated series.
Yes.
That's my answer.
Okay. Patrick, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to say the same. I think Joker, and I think it's a testament to the character that, well, what do they say that, great movies have great villains, right? And like the Joker just, I mean, in some ways, I feel like the Joker is almost, that's the variety in the different movies, right? Like in many ways, Batman is almost always the same, right? It's almost like the Bruce Wayne character is what's different in all the different iterations of Batman. Batman's kind of the same, just like tough, able to go, knuckle for knuckle with the bad guys, and has cool toys and all that kind of stuff. I'm overly generalizing, but the variety in the movies is Bruce Wayne and how Bruce Wayne interacts with his alter ego and the Joker. And I to try and pick a favorite, I mean, yeah, like the 89 Batman, I mean, what Heath Ledger brought to that role was absolutely chilling. I mean, I know that this line is cliched, but my gosh, he just disappeared into that role, right? I mean, and that's even what, if I recall, isn't that what people said on set for the Chris Nolan, The Dark Knight? I mean, that Heath Ledger just kind of was that character, and that was something that we just never seen on the screen. It was like, oh my goodness. And you talk about a way that they brought that character in, but then explored some of these deeper concepts and these deeper character developments and characters understanding who they were and why they were, and all these questions that we're pining for in this movie was presented in the Dark Knight and the other Batman movies, in the Chris Nolan series, and for that matter in the 89 Batman and Batman Returns and all and so forth. But I mean, the Joker is the foil in there, and I just like seeing what different characters bring to the role. Some of them stronger than others, but but then again, I say that, and no one's hiring me to play anybody. So I mean, who am I to judge? Some I shouldn't say stronger than others. Some that I liked better than others, but I just think, it's just great seeing what different characters bring to the role, and the different facets and the different. Here's our take on the Joker. Here's our take on the Joker. Here's what we're going to do with the Joker. I mean, the movie Joker, right? Like, I mean, that was a completely different look at the character. And I just think he's the ultimate Batman foil, the ultimate villain. So, yeah, I don't know if I could pick a favorite, because I just love seeing what everybody brings to the role.
Yeah, I think the obvious answer, and one of the first obvious answers for me would be, if it's not Jack Nicholson's Joker, it's Heath Ledger's Joker. Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna, since we've already said Joker, I'm gonna actually take this opportunity to jump to a different character, and I'm gonna say I really, really enjoy Cillian Murphy's Scarecrow in Batman Begins.
Yeah,
in that movie, I know he gets kind of relegated to a B character in the other movies, but his Scarecrow, and just like the way he plays this kind of almost like I don't know, this superior intellect kind of a thing. Yours is superior, Dr. Crane.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of like just the way he plays off it. Sometimes he's so much smarter than everyone else that he's almost bored. Like there's that scene where Falcone is in Arkham Asylum, and he comes walking in, and he walks into the room after he's been arrested and he's been put in there, and he's like, "Help me, I'm going crazy, I'm bouncing off the walls." And then Dr.
Mm-hmm.
Crane walks in and he sits down and he's trying to talk to him, and they're having this conversation, and almost like mid-conversation, he just kind of stops and he goes, "Would you like to see my mask?"
Mm-hmm.
And like the way he delivers that line, it's just like I'm bored with you. And I'm kind of putting on this air that, I'm this doctor that really cares. I'm not. I'm the Scarecrow, and I really would just I'd like to spray you with this fear gas and just, see how much it terrifies you. And just the moments in that movie when he gets that scene where he first encounters Batman in that one apartment, and when Batman, I think, shows up towards the end when he knows that Batman is there and he's, trying to foil his plan, he almost gets giddy Like, he's like, ooh, the Batman's here. Like, this is exciting. Yeah, I really like his character, and I think he played that character so well, especially in Batman Begins. So that, since we've already mentioned the Joker, I'm gonna hop to Scarecrow and say that's probably one of my favorites.
There you go.
All right, question number 2. What is your favorite Batman movie love interest?
Patrick?
For these, I really have to go. I really have to go back to the Tim Burton Batmans, because I think Michael Keaton brought such a humanity to the Batman role, where he kind of played him as a regular guy. Yeah, he was torn and he had trauma and he was trying to deal with that trauma, but I really think I like what they did in those Tim Burton ones, where it was also, there was the element of like Mr. Mom. You know what I'm saying? Like Bruce Wayne kind of seemed like, yeah, I'll write her 220, 221, whatever it takes. You know, there was that kind of like, I'm just going to say humanity, that kind of humor to him. He was, in some ways, he was more grounded than the other characters were. And maybe because in those movies, Batman was a little bit older. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was kind of at peace with who he was and at peace with the turmoil that he was dealing with, if that makes any sense. So I think because of that, I think the relationships in there felt, you know, a little bit more real. And so of those, I guess my favorite would have been Batman Returns, because I thought he and Michelle Pfeiffer were great together. I'd really like to see their interactions as Catwoman and Batman. I'd like to see their interactions as Selina Kyle and Bruce Wayne. It was just really funny. And if you would have taken the Batman and Catwoman out of it and just made it a romantic comedy, I think I really would have liked watching that movie. Just like if you would have taken the Batman out of The Dark Knight and it just been a crime drama, I think I would have really liked watching that movie. So I think my favorite love interest was Batman Returns with Michelle Pfeiffer and Michael Keaton. Just what they just the humanity and chemistry they brought to that.
Yeah, I think for me, I've always liked, especially in the comics, especially recent years in the comics. Now, granted, I haven't read the comics in probably a couple of years now, but there was a stretch of time where Batman's love interest, and at one point they were going to get married. It was Batman and Catwoman. And so I think probably some of my favorite love interest for Batman has got to either be, I really liked the newest, The Batman, the one with Robert Pattinson, and was it Zoe Kravitz as Selina Kyle? Like, I really like that one because I thought that was kind of a good fit. That was that kind of, they're both a little broken and they kind of find each other, and it's got some of the language I think is lifted directly from some of the comics, like when she calls him Bat, like as kind of a pet name, and just kind of the ways she talks to him sometimes. But I think also the most interesting one to me is Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, because then you've got, for lack of a better term, you've got the two crazies to get together and seeing how well their crazies match up with each other. And I think to me, that's more interesting than the Vicky Vale story. It's more interesting to me. It's definitely more interesting than the Chase Meridian story. It's way more interesting than the Rachel Dawes story. I think I got to go with Catwoman, and I got to go specifically either the Zoe Kravitz Catwoman or the Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman. And if you're making me pick one, maybe I got to sell Michelle Pfeiffer.
I'm going to agree with both of you. I always have enjoyed the Batman Catwoman dynamic, especially in the comics. Their relationship in the comics has always been very interesting, to say the least. And there's one comic that I know of that really pushed the boundary in terms of of John. I think you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I've always liked the dynamic between the two of them, because I think in terms of villain, like, Catwoman's not as villainous as Batman villains, and I think that there's a lot of similarity between the characters of Batman and Catwoman, which is why their relationship works so well. Because on one side, on one hand, it's they're behaving in ways that, like, Catwoman's behaving in a way that a villain might. But when you look at what she's doing and how she's doing it, how different is that from what Batman is doing some of the time? So they're very similar characters. So I like the fact that they've always had this kind of on-again, off-again thing. Zoe Kravitz was amazing in the Batman. But I think, as far as the movies go, Michelle Pfeiffer as Selena Kyle was... Although Anne Hathaway was also very good.
Yeah, she was pretty amazing in that role.
I pick Selena Kyle and Anne Hathaway and Zoe Kravitz.
Okay. So what you're saying is you're adding more columns to the voting sheet.
Do you know who you're talking to?
I do, yes. All right, and finally, question number 3. In 1995, other than Chris O'Donnell, who do you cast as Robin? I'm going to throw out a one that in 1995 I would not have known, but I did look up and I was like, was this who were young actors in 1995 who got their start around that time? And I was surprised to find this one, and so I'm going to say this could have been an interesting choice had I known more about him in 1995. But James McAvoy had gotten started around that time, so I'm going to say that could have been an interesting Robin.
Mm-hmm.
Pat, what say you?
So I am terrible with these questions of who would you I'm terrible with these, because the only thing I really know is I think of characters that are in movies similar and then kind of bring them over. Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas I think the people that actually do this for a living, they look for other intangible things, right? They'll see people in movies that are seemingly unrelated, but think, oh, they'll be perfect in this role. Do you know what I'm saying? So I feel like I'm very limited in my scope, because the only people are I'll think of actors that have played roles sort of like what Robin is, and then just kind of adapt them. So I always feel inadequate answering these questions. That being said, I kind of did the same search that John did. And honestly, it's really funny because some of the names that I came up with were actually ones that you mentioned were finalists for the role. So I thought Leonardo DiCaprio, and he was a finalist for the role in this one. And then I was also thinking, I wonder about Christian Bale. And I looked up that Christian Bale was considered for the role of Robin, but supposedly he said something to the effect of, I'm not going to do Robin. I'm only going to do Batman, or so, like that. So those two guys, and I'm like, oh, okay. So at least I'm sort of close. The other one I thought of was Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
That might be kind of fun. And then the only other one, and if we're looking at Dick Grayson, then this wouldn't work. But if we're looking at Robin in general, I know that the third Robin was after Jason Todd. It was a female, right? It was a young girl.
So after Jason Todd, there was a Tim Drake. So there was another boy.
Oh,
and then after Tim Drake, yes, there was a Stephanie something. I think was one of the Robins.
Okay. Was that like in the main timeline, or was that like in that future one where he had like the Bat Patrol in the Wasteland and all that?
Well, so yes, so there was a female Robin. I'm blanking out on what her name was, but that was if you do like the Dark Knight Returns, that was a female Robin. That was like supposed to be way in the future in the Frank Miller graphic novel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking it would have been really interesting to see like Scarlett Johansson, a young Scarlett Johansson play Robin.
Yeah, hold on, Pat. Hold on just a second.
Dreamweaver. I believe you can get me through the night.
I guarantee you, if there was a campaign to call in a 900 number to see if that Robin lives or dies, I'm calling the one where that Robin lives.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's all I got. I'm done. I'm spent. But I mean, I think any of those would have been really interesting to see in that role.
I'm watching that movie
forever.
There you go.
What you got, Heffy?
So I went in an entirely different direction. I was trying to think of who are some more teenage actors of the time that I feel like could have pulled off the action and the trauma.
Did you didn't pick short? You didn't pick Short Round, did you?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay, good. All right.
I did not. But one name that came to mind was Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yeah.
Mm.
That'd be a good one because that's around the time that's about the time he started.
I also came Joshua Jackson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could have been a very interesting take. And then the more I really thought about it, I can't remember the kid's name.
Hayden Christensen?
No.
Okay.
Edward Furlong.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The kid from T2.
Yeah.
I feel like he really would have brought an interesting sense of the dealing with the trauma of what happened to his family.
Mm-hmm.
And struggling to keep it together, and just bringing that I really wanted to get that out of Robin. You know, when you look at different versions of the telling of the death of his family, and I think in Identity Crisis, there's just a great shot of Batman holding a shattered Robin.
Mm-hmm.
A great illustration of it, like that. I wanted to explore that, and the script clearly didn't call for it, and I don't think. Well, anyway, no need to rehash that. But
sure.
I just feel like some of these other actors could have leaned more into the trauma of having his family killed, other than I'm mad and I'm going to kill the guy that did it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's what I got.
Okay. Good choices. Excellent choices. All right. Well, I think we've successfully made it through this one. Yeah. Batman for Never is maybe what we call it from here on out. But I will cherish the time we've spent with this movie, because 2 years from now, we probably will be talking about Batman and Robin, and I will look back fondly on, wow, I really wish I could watch Batman Forever right now. God.
Don't say that. Don't ever say that.
Don't never grow up. No. So anyway, we're in December. This is our action and adventure month. So far, last week we had Nick of Time. This week was Batman Forever. Coming up in a few days, we got our last of our 10th anniversary rewatches. We got Ghostbusters from 1984. And then next week we've got Judge Dredd. So we get some fun Sylvester Stallone dystopian future action adventure. Then we've got, in a couple weeks, we've got Mortal Kombat, and we finish the year off on New Year's Eve with 007 GoldenEye. And so at some point before we do that episode, I'm going to find some emulator somewhere so I can play the GameCube game or the Nintendo 64 game.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And just hear that music just playing in the background constantly. Yes. I'm going to be recording in some type of facility. Or is it a complex? I don't know.
I think it was a facility.
Was it? Okay. Either way, all the maps were fun in that game. I chose that game over Class a lot of times in college. So, all right. Yes. Have some. All right. Well, Jeffrey, Patrick, thank you for being here.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Mr. The Mazooka.
Thank you.
Yeah. I want to make sure that I address everyone properly. Mr. The Mazooka and Pat. Hi, Pat.
Hey.
Hey, guys. The only Patrick there is. We don't have Patrick Stewart on here anymore. So the only Patrick, the world revolves around this Patrick.
Oh boy.
Mr. The band director.
This one that is Vernon Hills Famous.
That's what I hear. Yes.
Oh, you're starting to fade there, guys. Starting to fade.
Jeff, he's infamous.
Infamous.
He's more than famous.
Infamous.
He's the infamous Cantagallo.
Wow. Infamous.
El Cantagallo.
LL Gallo?
Yes. Mm-hmm. It's like LL Bean, but it's different. And then if you haven't, I don't know what that means. If you haven't been over to Patreon, this month on Patreon, we've got Thunderball from 1965 as our Patreon episode. And then our Patreon short is The Last Dragon, which I had not watched in years. And if you want to talk about a bat guano crazy movie. Yeah, that's that. Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon. It's a thing. And yeah, as I was watching it, my son walked into the room and he kind of looked over at the screen, and it was the scene that Shonuff, the Shogun of Harlem, walked into the movie theater. And my son is like, "What are you watching?" I was like, "Honestly, I don't know."
I'm not sure if anybody knows.
I honestly don't know. He's like, did they just say that character's name is Bruce Leroy? Yes, they did. They did. Yes. So yes, that'll be the Patreon short this month. All right. And on that note, gentlemen, as always, thank you for being here.
Thank you, John.
All right. Everybody, be excellent to each other. Go watch some good movies, and we will see you back here next time.
Bring the lights down low. It's starting to snow. Lights, camera, you know what we mean. Behold the magic of the silver screen. Some movies rock, some movies shock. They're powerful or odd. We cover them all.